Quench Juice Bar Philadelphia. Minority and vet owned, using local vendors for their fruits and adding no added sugar to their products. Available on DoorDash and Grubhub. Grab yours today. Location 1500 Market Street, Suite 1455, Philadelphia, PA. Grab yours.
You know, you brought up Biggie, Pac, people we grew up listening to. You think about the NWA, think about Wu-Tang, think about the Lox, think about some of the groups we grew up loving. The message wasn't always the best, but they articulated a story and there was talent involved to where we can appreciate it. Now there's absolutely no talent, there's no substance, there's nothing. It almost seems like it's blatantly in our face. This is what they're gonna weaponize this form of music, and they're going to put this form of music as it relates to our people. When you look at the history of Black people in 2024, they're going to show you Sexy Red. Yep. Do you think that was by design?
By design. That was by design. And it's getting progressively worse every year we look at it. And I tell people this all the time, like that are involved in the music. Like, for example, like if you take a look at the top 5 streaming services, they are to blame too. Not just the record companies. Yeah. According to what was it? I think it's called Radar Tech or Tech Radar. I recently looked at their analysis on the top 5 music streaming services of 2024. They got Spotify number 1. They got Tidal at number 2. And some company I never heard of before is Qobuz or something like that as number 3. Qobuz or Q, I don't know. Number 4, Apple Music, and number 5 is Amazon. Now, I want them to look at how things are ran, like what all of these streaming services have in common. What do they have in common? They are realistically paying each artist less than a penny per stream. And that's a big problem because not only are some of these artists are selling our people out, but they selling our people out for nothing now. Spotify is giving people 0.005 cent per stream. So say, for example, Sexy Red, she did 1 million streams. She only made $5,000.
Wow.
Tidal, 0.011 cent. She did 1 million streams, 11,000. Apple, 0.007 cents, all less than a penny. She did 1 million streams, 7,000. So just those 3 alone is 20. I was about to say 22. That's 23,000 right there. But can you imagine how much money the streaming services and the record companies are making from that $1.99 sale of that one single? Yep. And it was streamed over 3 million views if you calculate all the three I just gave you. And the artists were, and it's not funny. I gotta laugh some of that negativity off. It's really not fun. It's really not. But the artist only receives less than a penny of that profit. I gotta stress that issue. And give or take, those streaming services or the record companies are 6 million, 7 million, just with those 3 examples. And I have a solution to that. But people got to look at that. Like, is it worth it? Is it really worth it? Is it really worth being in this industry for change? I mean, nothing. Pennies to their dollars and making our people look bad. Is it really that worth it?
Right. What's the end game to all of this as the music continues to go in a downward spiral? The Sexy Reds, the trash artists. What does this look like in the next 20 to 30 years, the Black community in general?
I believe there's going to be a positive change. I'm always the type that's going to look at the positive and the negative side, but I see a positive change happening because I'm going to give you an example. Recently, April, I believe it was April of 2024, this year, Spotify changed its terms of service. Y'all may be familiar with this, but it made it more difficult for those who consider themselves to be independent artists to gain money from streams of their songs. And the reason why I'm focusing on streams is that's where their money at. Now, people say they make money off of tours. They do. But more than half of that is going to the record companies. I'm focused on the stream because that's where the money is for them. Now, instead of being paid for every stream accumulated, this is just on Spotify, which is number 1, by the way, accumulated by each song, whatever the independent artists will publish on the platform. Spotify enlisted a threshold now that an artist must meet in order to gain in order to begin gaining money from each stream. So let's just say that an independent artist publishes a song that accumulated 500 streams within that 1 year. Spotify now requires that you have to have a total of 1,000 streams within that year before you get paid from that song. Okay, no matter how many songs you put out. Now, there's a catch to that. Here's another part to that people are unaware of. Now, some people may assume that, 1,000 streams will be easy for them to pick up because of their current fan base. However, Spotify enlisted a requirement that made an independent artist have to meet a minimum requirement of unique listeners for each song. And that unique listener has to be legit. And they're not telling you what number of unique listeners it has to be. In other words, they're withholding that from public information, public knowledge. People have no idea what that unique number is. This means that they can pay an independent artist whatever they want, whenever they feel like it.
Yeah.
Because Spotify now took over paying music royalties. And keep in mind, let me add this, and keep in mind that these streaming services got to report to what those ASCAP and BMI. So how much you being paid as an independent artist is now determined by people like Spotify if you use their services. And I'm pretty sure they got an algorithm and it's controlled by AI, but that would determine which listener will be considered a unique listener according to their standards. That leaves the door wide open for fraud, okay, to occur. And that's what this music industry is about. Like, it's always been that way. It's about fraud. I believe the solution, and to answer your question, brother, I'm getting into it now. I know I'm long-winded. The solution to this, at least for independent artists in this sake, I'm going to answer this, is to go straight to consumer. Like, skip the middleman by having your own website and sell digital copies of your music to your fans directly. That way you can keep all the profit you made, and it provides your fans like a more exclusive experience when they want to support you and your music. That's what I highly recommend. Now, as far as the overall problem or solution, well, we know what the problem is. The problem is that we don't own the industry that we created.
Right.
That's the key challenge.
Yeah.
In the music industry, the streaming industry, the whole thing, despite that we created all these platforms and everybody getting paid off of our talents, we as artists and music enthusiasts and journalists, and we don't own nothing. That's the problem. And if you listen to it, it's a solution. Because if we do pit our money together, if we pool our money together, let's say, all right, we had enough, that we could knock out Apple, we could knock out all of these streaming services, we could knock out all of these record companies and literally do it on our own. Not only in the music industry, but other forms of entertainment industries. NBA,
yeah,
NFL, them boys getting money. But just imagine us putting it together and actually doing it for a cause. Like, if you tired of being mistreated in the industry, whatever part of the entertainment industry you're in, that's something that we could do. Overnight, it would change. They would have no choice but to respect it.
That's profound. I was listening to Ali Sadiq. I was watching his comedy show today, The Domino Effect Part 4, and he was talking about how he was in prison. He went to this one block, and it was Bloods and Crips, and they were going crazy, and he wasn't used to all this black-on-black violence, but in there because it was unified. He said he had a group of Muslims, and he said, listen, we ain't fighting here today. Like, we shutting that down. And he went on to say, this was back in like the early 90s, he went on to say that today, black people rather annihilate their entire culture, annihilate their entire species for one like, as opposed to unify together for the common good of their own and complete own for their good of their people. And you just kind of alluded to that when you were talking about, if we could just put our stuff together, we can change it in one day. Overnight. And that is so simple, and we know this, but it don't happen. Why do you think that is?
I think it doesn't happen because people don't see it. I think they need to see it. This is another thing that I'm progressively went into. I'm not trying to say I went the political route, but I did go something in that direction. I did go in that direction a little bit by calling ourselves, how they claim that we're 13% of the population. We've been 13% of the population since 2021, right? So I throw it back in their face. That's their favorite number, 13 families, 13 districts. The elevator doesn't go to the 13th floor. I said, all right, well, since we only 13% of the population, right? But for some odd reason, we're 100% of its wealth. Well, let's do it like this. We only need 13% of our own population to get it done. We don't need each and everybody to unify. Let's just take a strong 13% of us that's like-minded. We could get it done. We could get it done. And everybody else will follow suit. I'm not trying to say monkey see, monkey do, but they'll follow suit. They need to see it, though. Some people would love to see it, but yet they believe in other things that are unforeseen. I'm going to leave it like that.
Right. I want to kind of transition a little bit and talk about, I don't know if you've probably been following that whole Diddy case. A lot of people said, well, he sued this company, the Diego Wine and Spirits, all the stuff began to, happen to him after that. Do you feed into those conspiracy theories, or do you think that he's just a scumbag, bad dude, that got taken out because he, beat on women and did whatever they said that he did?
I believe that they were already aware of what he was doing. It's just that some bad apples, and he was one of them. He wasn't. Now he wants a change. He wants to be out of it. Okay, and they don't let you go without a bad reputation on your name, based off of the club that he enlisted to be a part of. He's one of those type of guys that he has to listen to his puppeteers. He has to. If not, they will do things like this right now, expose him per se. And of course he has, things on other people. That's the reason why they came down to his houses and wanted to grab the tapes and nothing else, because he has things on people in higher positions, like the guy that's ahead of the Universal Music Group and Clyde Davis. He has tapes on, and I'm pretty sure that's the reason why they have, real good friends with Homeland Security that sent those people down there to his houses and say, hey, go get those tapes because he's going to expose me. Now we talking about billionaires now. So of course they could spend, you can hire Homeland Security out of your own pocket when you got $1 billion. You go down there and go get those tapes because he's trying to blackmail us, and that's what it was. But remember that tape that came out where we saw, him hitting on her in the hotel and stuff? They've been had that.
Exactly.
That's old. That's old. They've been had that. Notice how it was published after the statute of limitations went away. This was all a game. Of course, it's going to, persuade public's perception into thinking that P. Diddy is a bad guy. I'm not saying that he isn't. He is. He shouldn't be doing that to women, but they already knew this. If they actually wanted him gone, he would have been in jail years ago. But since he's working with the folks, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't be surprised that it's going to be more people that were surrounding him at these particular parties to come down along with him, especially if they don't say anything.